In 1776, something amazing happened, a moment that would change the course of history forever. 13 British colonies in North America decided they didn't want to be ruled by a king across the ocean anymore. They yearned for self-governance and the freedom to make their own decisions. They were tired of unfair taxes and laws. The famous slogan, "No taxation without representation," echoed through the streets. So, they declared their independence. On July 4th, the Declaration of Independence was signed, marking the birth of a new nation. This was a really big deal. It was a bold and risky move that would lead to a long and difficult struggle. It started a war with Great Britain, the most powerful country in the world at the time. The odds were against the colonists. The colonists were brave and determined. They formed militias and prepared to fight for their freedom. They fought hard for their freedom. Every battle was a testament to their resilience and courage. They had great leaders like George Washington, who became their first president. His leadership was crucial in guiding the colonies through the war. After years of fighting, they won the war. The Treaty of Paris was signed in 1783, officially ending the conflict. The United States of America was born, a new nation built on the principles of freedom and equality. This new nation was founded on the idea that all men are created equal and have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These were revolutionary ideas at the time. These ideas were written down in a very important document called the Declaration of Independence. It's still important today. It serves as a reminder of the values the nation was built upon. The United States was a brand new experiment in democracy. It was an unprecedented attempt to create a government by the people, for the people. It was the first country founded on the idea that the people should rule themselves. This was a radical departure from the monarchies that dominated the world. The world watched to see if this experiment would succeed. The success of the United States would inspire other nations to pursue their own paths to freedom and democracy. After winning independence, the United States was a small country with a big dream: to expand westward to the Pacific Ocean. Many Americans believed it was their God-given right, their manifest destiny, to control all the land between the Atlantic and Pacific. So, they packed their bags, loaded up their wagons, and headed west. Pioneers faced many dangers on their journey. They crossed vast prairies, climbed towering mountains, and braved harsh deserts. Native Americans already lived in these lands. Sadly, there were many conflicts between settlers and Native Americans. The U.S. government made treaties with Native American tribes, but they were often broken. Native Americans were forced off their land and onto reservations. It was a dark chapter in American history. The expansion westward was a time of both great opportunity and great injustice. In 1867, the United States made a surprising purchase. They bought a huge piece of land from Russia called Alaska. People thought it was a bad idea. They called it Seward's Folly after Secretary of State William Seward, who made the deal. Alaska was a vast and icy territory. People didn't think it was good for much. They were wrong. Alaska turned out to be rich in natural resources like gold, oil, and timber. It was a valuable addition to the United States. In the late 19th century, the United States experienced a period of rapid industrial growth. Factories were built, new inventions were created, people moved to cities to work in factories. America was becoming a powerful industrial nation. This growth brought about many changes. Railroads connected the country, cities grew larger, new technologies like the telephone and the light bulb transformed the way people lived. However, not everyone benefited equally from this progress. Factory workers often faced dangerous conditions and low wages. Immigrants from other countries came to America looking for a better life, but they often faced discrimination. This period of industrial growth had a dark side. Section 5. America in the World Wars, from Isolationism to Global Leadership. For much of its early history, the United States tried to stay out of world affairs. This policy was called isolationism. However, 2 world wars drew America onto the global stage. In World War I, the United States initially remained neutral, but after German submarines attacked American ships, the U.S. declared war on Germany in 1917. American soldiers helped turn the tide of the war in favor of the Allies. After the war, the United States returned to its isolationist ways, but the rise of aggressive dictatorships in Europe and Asia in the 1930s made it clear that staying out of world affairs was no longer an option. Section 6, the Cold War, a battle of ideologies. After World War II, a new conflict emerged, the Cold War. This period was marked by intense political and military tension. This was not a traditional war with battles and soldiers. Instead, it was a war of influence, espionage, and propaganda. It was a rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union, two superpowers with very different ideas about how the world should be run. Each sought to spread their ideology globally. The United States was a capitalist democracy, promoting free markets and individual freedoms. The Soviet Union was a communist dictatorship, advocating for state control and a classless society. These two ideologies clashed around the world, leading to numerous proxy wars and political confrontations. The United States and the Soviet Union never directly fought each other, but they supported opposing sides in wars in Korea, Vietnam, and other countries, fueling global instability. The Cold War was a time of great tension and fear. People lived under the constant threat of nuclear annihilation. Both sides had nuclear weapons, creating a precarious balance of power known as mutually assured destruction. People worried about the possibility of a nuclear war that could destroy the world. This fear permeated everyday life and culture. The Cold War finally ended in 1991, when the Soviet Union collapsed, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new world order. Section 7, the Civil Rights Movement, striving for equality. While the United States was fighting for freedom and democracy around the world, it was also grappling with injustice at home. African Americans had been denied basic civil rights for centuries. They were treated as second-class citizens. In the 1950s and 1960s, the civil rights movement emerged to challenge this inequality. Brave men and women like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and John Lewis led the fight for equality. They organized protests, marches, and boycotts. They faced violence and arrest, but they persevered. Their courage and sacrifice helped bring about important changes. Laws were passed to end segregation and discrimination. It was a major step forward for civil rights. Section 8, the space race reaching for the stars. In the 1960s, the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a different kind of competition, the space race. This was a period of intense rivalry, not just on Earth, but in the vast expanse of space. Both countries poured immense resources into developing rockets and spacecraft, pushing the boundaries of technology and human ingenuity. They wanted to be the first to explore space, to claim the ultimate prize of being pioneers in the final frontier. The Soviet Union took an early lead, showcasing their technological prowess to the world. They launched the first satellite, Sputnik 1, into orbit in 1957, marking a significant milestone in human history. They also sent the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into space in 1961, a monumental achievement that stunned the world. The United States was determined to catch up, driven by a fierce sense of competition and national pride. President John F. Kennedy challenged the nation to land a man on the moon before the end of the decade, inspiring a generation. It was a bold goal, one that required unprecedented effort and innovation. But in 1969, Neil Armstrong became the first human to walk on the moon, a moment that captivated the entire world. It was a giant leap for mankind, symbolizing the limitless possibilities of human achievement and exploration. Section 9, the Digital Revolution, America's Technological Prowess. In the late 20th century, a new revolution swept the world, the digital revolution. This revolution was driven by advances in computing and communications technology. The United States played a leading role in this revolution. American companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Google developed the computers, software, and internet services that transformed the way we live, work, and communicate. The digital revolution has had a profound impact on society. It has created new industries, connected people around the world, and made information more accessible than ever before. However, it has also raised new challenges, such as concerns about privacy, cybersecurity, and the spread of misinformation. Section 10, the 21st Century, Challenges and Opportunities. As the United States entered the 21st century, it faced a new set of challenges and opportunities. The world had become increasingly interconnected. Globalization brought both benefits and challenges. The United States remained a global superpower, but it faced competition from rising powers like China. Terrorism emerged as a major threat. The attacks of September 11, 2001, shook the nation and led to the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Domestically, the United States grappled with issues such as climate change, income inequality, and political polarization. Despite these challenges, the United States continued to be a beacon of hope and opportunity for many people around the world. Section 11. The Enduring Legacy of the United States. The history of the United States is a story of both triumph and tragedy. It is a story of a nation founded on ideals of freedom, equality, and opportunity. But it is also a story of a nation that has often struggled to live up to those ideals. The United States has made great progress in its relatively short history. It has overcome many challenges, but it still faces many challenges today. The United States remains a work in progress. It is a nation constantly striving to become a more perfect union. The story of the United States is still being written. The choices that Americans make today will shape the course of their nation for generations to come.